From Bath to the bookies, celebrating the Melbourne Cup Carnival, Sports Tonight. And we'll have all the Cup news shortly, including the final call on whether Tie the Knot will run on Tuesday. But let's start on a winning note.
The Derby won, Shogun Lodge can't get in. Black Prize and Greg Charles are half a length.
Blackfriars has survived a controversial protest to win this afternoon's Victoria Derby at Flemington. Greg Childs rode a brilliant race to take the Peter Hayes-trained Blackfriars across the line ahead of Shogun Lodge and Diatribe.
9 group races, $2.75 million in prize money and the clash of Australia's top 3-year-olds. In the Derby, punters finding it hard to split Shogun Lodge and Blackfriars.
Blackfriars go up on the outside. Shogun Lodge a length away. Battling on Freemason. Blackfriars hit the lead in the Derby from Diatribe. 2 lengths back to Shogun Lodge, who's still coming. Blackfriars in front. Shogun Lodge a length away, pegging him back. Blackfriars a half in front. He's got the Derby won. Shogun Lodge can't get him. Blackfriars and
A third Derby success for Super Sire Danehill, but first Blackfriars had to survive a protest. Shane Dye alleging interference in the last 200 metres.
If I had my rightful run, which I'm entitled to, there's no doubt that horse would have won.
The incident did not affect the result of the race and the placings therefore stand.
Winning jockey Greg Childs free to celebrate his second Derby victory, including a verbal swipe at rival Shane Dye.
Shane Dye gave us a few hair-raising moments, but that's Shane. He obviously gives his best and tries to win when he doesn't win.
Blackfriars returned $4.10 the win and $1.70 the place. Shogun Lodge $1.70 and Diatribe $2.20. A dramatic climax to the Victoria Derby, but punters recovered quickly, sending Melbourne Cup hopeful Tie the Knot out, a red-hot favourite in the McKinnon Stakes. As expected, Tie the Knot settled third last, but punters were disappointed when the Cup favourite failed to run on.
It's Rogan Josh drawing a neck clear. This is a strong run. Rogan Josh coming away. Rogan Josh wins it nearly a length.
Bart Cummings again proving he's the master trainer.
Showed you will settle and still get to the line, which is the most important thing. And yeah, it was a good trial.
Tie the Knot's connections can now only hope for improvement in the Cup on Tuesday. Rogan Josh returned 16.10 the win and 3.60 the place. Long shot Rebel helping the trifecta to almost $8,500. The Daily Double at Flemington returned $28 for the numbers 4 and 16. The Quaddie paying almost $11,500, while the straight 6 jackpots to Cup Day.
And Darren joins us live now from Flemington, where the barrier draw for Tuesday's Melbourne Cup is about to get underway.
Yes, and the most important thing, all the attention at the barrier draw is on Tie the Knot and, of course, whether the horse will actually run. I spoke to Shane Dye a short time ago. His manager was on the phone to the horse's connections. The answer that was given to Shane Dye was, we'll assess the horse's condition tomorrow. So you'd have to say that on its performance today, Tie the Knot is no certainty to start in the race. A few that have come into the field, though, from today's performances, Rogan Josh, Behemoth, the Warrior and Brew, and I can tell you that Michael Iskander has framed a new market for the Melbourne Cup. Rogan Josh has had its quote slashed from 12 to 1 into 4s. Tie the Knot now out to equal 5 to 2 favourite with Sky Heights, and Rebor into 8 to 1. So after a dramatic day of racing, punters are now assessing their new Cup favourites after quite an amazing day on the track. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Darren. Darren Linton at Flemington.
Next week, a Cup story with a difference.
All engines are on fire. I thought, well, this is it.
The Melbourne surgeon who survived an air disaster. Now his hopes are pinned on Sky Heights. Day tonight.
At the annual racing mass.
Just as Easter is the most important day in Christendom, Cup Week is the most important in Australian racing, and a cause for contemplation. In turf parlance, a distinguished veteran in green silks with red cap led the field in a who's who of racing. Bishop Aloysius Morgan was an import from Canberra for today's event, and he's already been trackside.
I've never been to Flemington since Spearfelt won in 27, and I went yesterday.
As were overseas pair Travelmate and Yavana's Pace. This year, the overseas trainers have lightened their horses' earthly burden.
We know that when we travel long distances, that's probably a mistake.
Recognizing that all life, and therefore the life of a horse, belongs to God.
Well, there you go, and that ends a busy day in sport, Kathy.
Next national bulletin at 11:30 tomorrow morning. But stay with us now for Sports Tonight. Louise Thiel, good night.
tonight. Sections of Cup hopeful tie the knot.
Springtime. It's when Melbourne blossoms and Flemington booms. When Australia dresses up and down, heads to the track and says, let's party. And when these amazing thoroughbreds stare down the turf and declare, let's race. From Bath to the bookies, celebrating the Melbourne Cup Carnival, Sports Tonight.
The knot may be in doubt for Tuesday's Melbourne Cup after a disappointing Derby Day performance. But Cox Plate winning jockey Greg Childs is celebrating after another big win, capturing the $1 million Derby on favourite Blackfriars. But his ride provoked a protest by Shane Dye, who claimed interference in the home straight.
Steeped in elegance and tradition, the Derby is Australia's oldest classic. Today was its 145th running.
I feel very honoured to have two of my young nieces here, and I'm taking them around to show them the delights of Derby.
The delights took many forms. 3 Group 1 races on the card makes this day arguably Australasia's best on the turf. The $1 million Derby is the supreme staying test for 3-year-olds. And the bookies had it right. The 2 favourites, Shogun Lodge and Blackfriars, shortened on the tote, though the latter looked fractious.
Battling on Freemason, Blackfriars hit the lead in the Derby from Diatribe. 2 lengths back to Shogun Lodge, who's still coming. Blackfriars in front, Shogun Lodge a length away, pegging him back. Blackfriars a half in front, he's got the Derby won. Shogun Lodge can't get him.
But for triumphant Cox Plate jockey Greg Childs, his winning ride provoked a protest from second.
It was just a case of positioning the horse and letting things unfold, and there were some hairy moments, but we got there in the finish.
The protest was dismissed, and Peter Hayes joins his brother and late father Colin as a winning Derby trainer. In the McKinnon Stakes, Melbourne Cup favourite Tie the Knot was 11-4 from Cup Runners Arena at 10s and Rogan Josh at 12s. Rogan Josh has plunged to 4s for the Cup. On today's form, the disappointing Tie the Knot, 10 lengths off his best, may not even start. And the Cup King, Bart Cummings, is saying little about Tuesday.
I hope so.
Earlier, the Saab quality field saw Melbourne Cup Longshot Seasquill finish 3rd and Nazaro unplaced. The victors were pleased, the losers philosophical.
We all pulled our money and sent a friend of ours who's a solicitor over to have a bet, and he backed the wrong horse.
I'm intent to sue.
Wrong horse, wrong state, wrong race.
And the barrier draw for the Melbourne Cup was held a short time ago, and it's good news for Caulfield Cup winner Sky Heights. Damien Oliver will have the dream run from barrier 1, while Tie the Knot has drawn number 15. Travel Mate has also drawn well with barrier 7. Today's McKinnon Stakes winner, Rogan Josh, will start out of 21. Third favourite for the race, Les Bill, was unlucky, drawing barrier 23.